What's going on, YouTube? It's Donnie B all day. Coming at you with a challenge, something that you have to be challenged to do. So a while back, I took a Bowie and I created a Bowie, right? I took a knife to make a knife and I gave it a pretty good edge as far as a wooden Bowie is concerned. And you can see I gave it some shape and handle and this and that, nice clip point. And my brother, DJ Billy B, over at Vinyl Massacre, Mass, capital M-A-S-S, Acre, vinyl with a Y, obviously. DJ Billy B said, man, you should do another wooden knife type thing and challenge people to make a wooden knife. So, because I already did this one, I'm not using this as my challenge. This isn't like, oh, I already did it, so now you have to do it. No, we're going to start fresh. So we got some rules here. We got some rules to this. What we're going to do is we're going to make a wooden Bowie knife, right? And what I did is I went to Home Depot and I got myself a 1x3, right? And with that 1x3, I cut it down to 15 inches. All right. And this is the rules and the specifications of what must be for this blade. Your handle has to be at least 5 inches. Your blade has to be at least 9 3/4 inches. Not 9.5, not 9.5. You need to make it at least 9 3/4. So think about a 10-inch blade. It's going to look a lot like this in the hand. You'll know that. This is a 4 3/4 inch handle. So I am right at the specification of, well, I'm actually over. I'm at 14 3/4 on that thing. Your blade total has to be no shorter than 14.5 inches. Your blade depth going this way can be no less than 2.5 inches. This one's 3. So at least 2.5 inches deep. I'm blurry. The blade must be at least 10 inches long. I'm still blurry. Let's try to get out of that. All right. I think I was prettier when I was blurry. Sorry, guys. Now you got to look at this. So you're looking at least a depth in your blade for 2.5 inches. Your blade has to be at least 9 3/4 inches. Your blade has to, your handle has to be, I'm sorry, not at least 5 inches up. You want to keep them around 5 inches, but your handle, you can make it as big as you want. Your handle should be at least 4 1/4 inches. So that's the layout as far as measurements. Your edge, the edge on your wooden knife has to be sharp enough to slice a tomato. Doesn't have to be a perfect slice. Doesn't have to be, like razor sharp slice, but you have to be able to slice a tomato at the end of your build. Not chop a tomato. You have to be able to go slice with a tomato. All right. And that's it. So here's the deal. You can't cut it from one side, right? You're not making a wedge knife. This is going to be like a real knife. You are going down one side, down the other side, right? So you're making an actual knife edge. Now here's the best part about it. And all you guys over there at home with your nice table saws and band saws and power sanders, nope, you don't get to use any of that crap. The one cut you get to make that has nothing to do with a knife is the initial cut to get down to the size you want. I got a 15-inch piece here. I'm making a 15-inch knife. Now, you can use 2 cutting tools, right? And 2 refining tools. We'll do it this way. You can use 2 knives, right? And you can use either 2 files, 2 different grains of sandpaper. You can use a file and some sandpaper. It has to be all by hand. No electric anything. So because you can only use 2 knives, I would be very smart and I would choose something like what I'm using. This is the K-Bar Big Brother. Now, you're thinking that's a pretty big knife to do this, but I got to knock off some pretty big chunks. But here's the deal. I can't use any saws, no pocket saws, no nothing like that. But if my blade has a serration already on it, like this one does, that gives me some saw work. Now, I can't use a multi-tool, and I'm not using my Victorinox, um, my Victorinox Swiss Champ, because it's got a saw inside, but it's an individual saw. It's not connected to the actual blade. So any sawing you do must be a saw that's connected to an actual knife blade, not a knife blade connected to a saw, right? So this is going to be my chunk taker outer, my refining knife. Oh, that's my frost cutlery. I'll tell you, I did a video on this, guys. This knife I've been working with, oh my God, I love it. Frost cutlery sling blade. Wow, so nice. All right, so here you go. I'm using the Cold Steel Finhawk, right? This thing's got the big Scandi grind. Awesome, awesome, awesome. I have never sharpened this knife. Never sharpened this knife. I use it, oh, not Finhawk, Finwolf. I've never sharpened it. My edge is still stock edge, and it is still cutting so much so where I can trust it to cut this without having to resharpen. So hold on a second. Let me yell at the dog because he's eating the wrong food. Roscoe, get over to your own food. Man, they have 2 bowls of food, right? One for one, one for the other. And what will happen is the big guy will eat the little guy's food, and the little guy will just sit there and stare at him saying, oh, I want my food. So once I yell at him, then he leaves and goes and eats his own food. The little one's too stupid to say, all right, fine, I'm going to go eat your food. No, he just waits. All right, so here's what we got to do. I'm going to show you how to do a layout. So hold on one second. Okay, so I got a big fat magic marker because I couldn't find my nice Sharpie. So this is going to be a trip drawing this one on there. But the reason I'm going with a 1x3 instead of like a 2x3 or a 2x4 is because then you'll have to cut down a lot from the sides. And that's asking a lot. This is a fun project. I don't want anybody to go crazy. So what we're going to do is first we are going to measure. Oh, I don't need my measuring tool because I already have 10 inches right here. So I know from that end in is going to the edge of my blade is 10 inches. So I'm just going to mark off on 2 spots 10 inches. So it looks like that. Then I'm going to take my big old marker here and I'm going to draw a line separating my handle from my blade. First I thought that was a crack, but it's just a saw mark from where they cut it. So now I know that this is 10 inches. I know that this is 5 because it's a 15-inch piece. So I'm going to have a 5-inch handle and I'm going to have a 10-inch blade. So normally you'd have to draw this way your design, but because I'm going with a 1-inch piece, I'm making a 1-inch handle. All right, so I don't really have to do any of that. I'll be sanding it and making it nice, and I'll be cutting it down or up in places, but not so much the other way around. The only place I'll be doing it is on this side because I need my edge. So what I want to do is I want to find my handle mark, my 5-inch mark, right? And I'm going to draw a line on the bottom. That tells me that this is handle, this is edge. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to line up dead center and I'm going to put my pinky on here and I'm going to drag my hand and I'm going to make a nice straight line all the way through the center. And I know it's going to be straight because my pinky will not move. So I don't need any kind of guide. I just divided it dead in half all by eye by using the pinky. So if you do this, you will have a straight line. There's no bending. It can't go anywhere. So that'll give you a straight line. So now I know, let me make it a little darker. Now I know where my edge is going to be. And voila, perfectly straight, perfectly halved. That's going to be that. Oh, I don't know why I'm putting the cap on. So now I have where that's going to be. So now it comes down to my shape, right? And my blade shape, I'm going to keep fairly simple. You can't make a box. You're not making a rectangular blade here. So what I want to do is I want to start with my ricasso, right? So I'm going to come down and pretty simple. That's my ricasso, right? So now my blade is going to come all the way through, and I'm going to come up right before the end here, and I'm going to turn it up just like that. That's going to be the end of my edge. And I was thinking maybe doing a drop point, because I already did a clip point, so that's what I might do. Maybe a spear, but I think I'm going to do a nice big drop right into there. So that's going to be the shape of my blade. My handle, pretty simple. Here we go. I need a nice swell and a hand end. So this is going to be my knife at the end. All right. You can see this one. I gave contouring on the top and bottom, and I did a big clip point. So you can see where the difference is going to be. They're going to be pretty much about the same size, but this one's going to be a nice shape, right? Or a different shape. So that's it. So what I'm going to start to do now that I have it all laid out. Oh, I gotta get my grind angles. Well, I'll get my grind angles at the end. I really don't care. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by chopping. I'm not going to do it right here because I'm going to make a mess. But I'm going to start by chopping away, and then I'll flip it over and I'll start chopping away until I can get a rough estimate, a rough piece of where I'm at, and then I'm going to start taking the smaller knife and really start refining it. So I'm going to press pause. I'm going to start chopping in some wood away. So hold on. Okay, so I got the first stage done. Did all my chops. I almost forgot to draw on my hand guard. I'm going to have a little finger guard there. That's the hardest part. Finger guards are really hard because they get thin and they break. This one had a plan on a little hand guard right there. It kind of broke off, but it's all right. So as you can see, I chopped out chunks. Now when you're chopping, make sure that you're going short, quick chops. Don't hack, because then it's going to split and you're going to ruin your entire knife. So short chops when you're doing your chop. Also remember, I touched on the whole file, and that's going to be cool. I touched on the whole file and sandpaper thing. Remember, it's not sandpaper and file as in you got your set of files and you got your set of different sandpapers. You can use one sandpaper weight, one grain, right? So if you're using an 80 or 40 or whatever you want, so it's pick it wisely, and you can use one file and not a three-sided file. It's kind of cheating. So you can use one coarseness in file, one coarseness in sandpaper. So think about that, because when you're doing it, it's going to make a huge deal of how you want to finish. I would use a rougher file and smoother sandpaper rather than the other way around, because filing with a rough file, you can take away more material than using rough sandpaper without using electricity. So this is where I'm at so far. That was really hard to get through. That's definitely going to have to be refined with this guy. I actually was trying to do a little batoning there, but you got to go so slow and so soft. Otherwise, you're going to split the whole thing. So this is where I'm at. Now I'm going to take the little guy and I'm going to start to break all that down, get this to a point, and start getting this part carved out. All right, so let's see it in when it's there. All right, I decided I'm going to show you. I showed you how to chop, but I really didn't show you how to chop. I just showed you how to chop. But so I'll show you a little bit of technique, what I'm using with this. I'm just doing a push, right? So I'm putting the blade against the area I want to cut, and instead of pulling the blade, what I'm doing is pushing the blade. So I'm using my thumb to guide what I want to take off. So everything I cut is going to be cut by pushing, not pulling. So I'm not doing, this, or I'm not doing this. I want accurate cutting because I want it to be as smooth as possible. That way, the more I can make it smooth, the less I have to sand down later. And remember, I have to bring this edge in to cut a tomato, so I need to make it to where I can get it to a point where I can start coming, this is my blade right here, coming this way. So I will take away you can see like it's basically like feather sticking. So when I get to the edge making, I'm going to be doing a lot of this. Put the knife into you and pull that way. That way you can control the amount you're taking off. I just got myself. So you get nice pieces like this, and right away you can start making that edge. So I see that, no, there it is. I took off a nice chunk. There's my center line. This is where the chunk came in. All right, so you can see how close that is. So then I just have to come up more and take out more material up here. But remember, it's a wooden knife, so don't go crazy thin like a real knife, because then you will just shatter that edge. All right, so I'm going to keep working. I'll show you when I got to a good point. Okay, so I hit a point where I think I need to show you guys a little something. If you hit an area with a knot and you're getting close to your edge, like I was, you can see I was peeling here on the other side doing the edge. When you hit a knot and I don't know if you can see those circles right there. That means if I keep pulling, those circles are going to split and I'm going to go across my edge. Just flip it over and come from the other side. That way I can get it and go very, very careful, but I can get it without damaging my soon-to-be edge. I can come right through. So now what I'm doing is I'm carving into the knot, right? I'm getting my blade all the way to the knot, and then I'm taking off the material around the knot. Okay, so I'll show you what I mean. There goes that piece. So here's my knot right here. What I'm doing is I'm going this way and carving it around. That way when I take my file, I'll file off that edge rather than trying to slice the knot, because what happens is you risk the whole knot popping out. So just word for the wise, be careful around knots, all right? Okay, so I'm just about as far as I can go, almost. I still have to cut out this with a knife. Now you can see the knot there. I cut around it, so I'm making the edge happen around the knot, and then I'll use the file. But I've been just carving, and till I can get, you see that V, right? Until I can get all that, and then I'll make it all even. So my file is this guy right here. You can see that. Well, maybe there you go. There's the hard side. I'm using a rough file, so my knot is going to come out using this guy, and it's just going to be over and over and over again doing this. And look at that, I just took out a huge chunk of the knot, just came right out. See that? Remember I was telling you it'll pop out? So now I'm going to have to use the file to smooth that whole thing over, because that took out a big chunk right there. The knots are dangerous when it comes to making an edge on a wooden knife. Knots suck. But this is the file I'm going to use. I'm going to make it, it's pretty rough, but at the same time, it's going to make a nice area. And then I have this guy right here, which is fine paper. And you can see that black line right there. And it's going to take a whole lot of sanding. But you can see just bringing it down, making some nice edges. That's exactly what it's going to be. So I'm going to continue to work on this. My file work inside my ricasso is going to be what keeps that thing alive and still on the knife. So I need to just keep filing that down until it's to the point where I want it, which is pretty close to there. So that just means I have to come in this way on this side more so I can have a ricasso. You don't need a ricasso. That's just my blade shape. And if you're doing this in your living room, have a cardboard box between your legs, or somebody's going to be pissed when the wood is everywhere. And that's exactly what I'm doing. I got this far by sitting on my couch with a cardboard box, 2 knives, and now some means of sanding. So I'm getting there. Just got to keep on going. I took out some more material here and took out a little chip with the knife. Got to be careful. So I'm going to have to smooth that around. That's it. You're gonna end up with a lot of these lines from, carving. But once you sand it all down, it's going to come out pretty smooth. So let me finish this guy up here. All right, this is taking forever. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, this is taking forever. But it's looking like a knife. It's looking like a knife. Got all that nice. Got all that nice. Look at that. I even beveled the spine a little bit. Got my handle shape in. Got my handguard, didn't break it off. Whew, that was tough. So I can actually put my finger in there, use it straight up. Ooh, now I made my edge really fat because I didn't want to break it, but now I'm feeling it's not going to be sharp enough for a tomato. So I need to continue. And I'm doing is pressing my thumb in there and continue to sand close to the edge and try to hollow it a little bit. And if I can hollow the edge, then it'll come sharper. So I might even just get the sandpaper away from the actual edge, just fold it, give it a little U, and just do this over and over and over and over and over again until I have a very, very doable edge to do my, man, it just comes out so smooth. It's like butter smooth, that sandpaper. And you can see that edge looks, it's actually really nice. But this takes a lot of work. I got a lot of lumps left in there. So, and every time I sand, I get dust in the face. But they'll come out eventually, and hopefully it'll sharpen up just enough to where all I need to do is make one cut across a tomato. And if I can get, man, that is so nice. It feels like silk. And if I can do that, then that's the challenge. And I want to be able to meet my own challenge. Now, a lot of you guys out there might be carpenters and woodworkers and this and that. I am not. That's why this challenge was make a knife with a knife, because a lot of the guys out there, a lot of the viewers, that if you watch this page, you're guaranteed to be a knife person, but you might not be a wood person. So I wanted to make sure that everybody has the materials it takes. You know what I mean? Everybody can get a piece of sandpaper. Everybody can, if you're on this channel, have a knife. And that's really what it comes down to, is if you have a knife, that's all you really need to make the knife. And that's what I want, is people to be able to do. Look how smooth that is. People to be able to do this and have fun with it. To make a knife with a knife is the big thing. If you're a woodworker, you know, you're on the honor system here. No cheating with power tools. No cheating with special tools. You know, I'm pretty sure there's some pretty handy crafty tools out there for woodworking that would make this job a whole lot easier. But gotta keep it real. Gotta keep it real. We want to make this a good project, even and fair for everybody to do. Just because you have the means to make a better one doesn't mean you should use them in this challenge. I want to try and get off this marker. I'm probably going to end up painting it anyway, but try to make it as nice as possible here. Whew, I am dusty. But I'll tell you what, man. The shape is really nice. Right? I even got a pretty even grind line, fairly even. It's almost TP'd. It's off to one side a little bit, but that's okay. You can see it looks pretty nice. Like I even made it come down a little bit, give it that stabbing profile for the edge. And I'll tell you what, this thing right here will definitely stab through. Is it shave sharp? Nope. I think I'm just dulling it. So that's it. I'm going to just continue. Oh, I almost used the wrong side. I'm only allowed to use one grain. So I'm just going to continue to knock down a little bit of it and refine it. And then keep these edges nice and smooth. And what I'm going to put into it is literally just working on the edge after I get all these little goofy lines done. I just want to work on the edge, make the handle, the knuckle parts nice and smooth, and it takes a lot of sanding, but look how smooth it is, right? I mean, it's coming out. So, and it's comfortable. It's comfortable in the hand. It's a good fit. The hand guard is a little too thick. I did take a nice chunk out of there. Oh, and the chunk that I took out of the rear, what I did is I just ended up knocking both points in. So I got rid of that chunk. All in all, it's a knife. The knots are, you could run your finger across the knots, you can feel them bow out. Just takes a lot of work to get through those knots. And you know, I mean, it'd take me 10 years to get this thing even, but all I need to do is get the edge sharp enough for a tomato. And here's the thing is I forgot to get a tomato. So I'm going to have to run to the store and get a tomato just so I can finish this video. And hopefully I will have an edge that can go through it. And, you know, you'd hate to be the guy that creates the challenge and fails. As far as making the knife, that part, well, that's all me. That's nice and easy. So now, you can see, I have 2 wooden knives. And this one, I didn't sand or anything like that. I just used a knife and chopped, and what I sanded at the end, but I didn't refine it as much. This one, it was my first try, and I was just messing around with it. And this is what I got. Like, you can see that it's all chunky there. Not this one. This is nice and smooth. You can see the difference. I put the edge on one side. You see that? There's bevel there. There's none on there. And so this one is kind of for a wall decoration, and that's what it is. But this edge, I think right now, is probably sharper than this one. And it is probably because it's a wedge. Where this is kind of a convex edge. But I'm going to keep working on it so I can make it tomato smooth. And we will see. Like right now it feels good, but every time I run my fingers across it, I dull it just a little bit more. So I'm going to do that, get the tomato, and the next time I unpause, it's going to be to slice through a tomato. All right. Well, la-dee-da. I decided to take a look, a peek, and a gander, and in the fridge, and lo and behold, I had a tomato. So let's see if we can't slice a tomato with a wooden knife. Okay, here we go. Now it's too fat to go all the way. Just going to spread open that tomato. But you can see. Hello, I'm sliced open. Okay, so challenge met. I made a knife with another knife, actually 2 knives. Strong enough, sharp enough, good enough to go through a tomato. So that's pretty good. It went right through the tomato skin. And there you go. There you go. A sliced tomato via a wooden knife. How do you like them apples or tomatoes? So that's it. What I'll do is I'll finish sanding this, make it a little bit smoother. I'll paint it, and it will go on the wall of fame. So, wooden Bowie tomato slice challenge. Holy mackerel. Guys, anybody can do this. Anybody can take a knife and make a knife. Once you get it done, cut you a tomato, get that thing on film, put it up there. If you can't get it on film, just tell me you did it. I'll believe you. And you guys who have channels, all my other guys, Cowboy Sebop, I want to see Big Brody. I want to see everybody. I want to see Arizona Bladesman. I want to see Slingshot Warrior. I want to see all you guys. I want to see you make a knife with a knife out of a piece of wood. Follow the specifications. and slice a tomato. That's it. That's all you got to do. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. I'm Donnie B all day. Until next knife.